I'm Dennis Mahato, amateur radio call sign AD6DM, and you're listening to the Hamdom Thoughts Podcast. This is a podcast about ham radio, electronics, prepping, and tinkering. Today, I welcome special guest,
Tank Radio!
Frank, KG5AHJ, also known as Tank Radio on YouTube. He was a previous guest on the show a couple years ago, and we revisit him today with some cool updates to his life, his channel, and his ham radio activities. Stay tuned. Hey, Tank.
What is going on, man? How are you doing?
Doing great. Little do people know that that was actually a live intro, and you actually did your S9 plus 20 intro while I was talking, so that's awesome. Honor having you here again today. Thanks for coming on the show.
You're welcome, man.
How is it over in Texas? How you doing?
It is finally cooling down. Outside right now is 79.
Oh, wow.
What? That is like beautiful.
Hold on a second. Let me look at my little thingy here. It's 85 here. So it's actually
85.
cooler where you're at.
Oh, what that can be. Oh, wow. That's awesome. Actually, to be honest, there might be a couple thunderstorms rolling through the area this evening. That's why the temperature's dropping a bit.
Yes.
But it's beautiful outside. It's beautiful. By just driving home today, started the car and I got in my car and I was like, oh my God, it's cold, because from my office window about 3 stories up, I can turn around with my key fob, start the car, and I start about 7 minutes out. So the time I get to it, it's cool.
Yeah.
So I got in the car today. It was kind of frigid. I was like, maybe I don't need to do that anymore.
Yeah. Well, thanks a lot for joining me. My audience does not know this, but we've been encountering countless technical difficulties getting this going.
I think this is on my side this time, Dennis.
Well, yeah, even right now, you're completely
locking.
Frozen. So just don't mess with anything. But I hear you perfectly.
Okay. So you missed me dancing. I was dancing the whole
I saw
intro,
that part. I did see you dancing.
Guitar.
That was great. But as we got into it here, you just froze. Now you're looking down, and it's just like a picture now. Oh, there you go. It unfroze.
Hi.
There you are. But anyway, I might have to call you in the middle of this, and that's happened before on a recording, so it's not a big deal. But to my listeners, if you encounter suddenly a change in audio quality, that's why. That's what happened. But anyway,
will go get the second laptop out if that happens, and we'll try to pick up from there.
Technology.
Oh, yeah.
Well, at least, I mean, I am thankful for Zoom. It makes all of this possible. So I'm glad it's working right now. But thanks a lot for joining me, and very glad to have you back. Like I said, you're pretty well known.
Having me back. I appreciate it. The honor is all mine, Dennis. All mine.
You're very well known. You're kind of like this public figure now in the ham community. For those who did not listen to Frank's previous episode, he really started out in the background, kind of like a background character for Ham Radio 2.0 or 2.0. I always say that wrong.
I like that description. Character instead of co-host.
And yeah, you were a lot of the time even kind of running the show while Jason was off, getting things set up or doing stuff, and on his streams and videos. And you're also a participant in a lot of the fun ones with Mike, Ham Radio Tube now, K8MRD. His new channel name is Ham Radio Tube, which is difficult for me to always remember. But
let's put a pin in that right there.
Okay.
I ham radio tube, perfect CEO gold for a channel name. But for Mike to use it, I don't like it.
Oh no. Well, I mean, for me, it's just a mental adjustment because I always know him as he had MRD radio stuff, and of course,
Yes.
with the guitar intro that he always used to do, and now he doesn't play that so much. So
Yeah, yeah.
but I see you with him a lot. I guess you're not too far apart, although Texas is a very big state.
He's about 3 hours south of me.
Yeah, you still make
And
the
has-
point to hang, which is cool.
Yep. And as he drives 2.5.
Oh, but nowadays, much more established. You're much more established now on your own. You got your own following. You got your tank radio theme. And what do you call your audience again?
Tankers.
Tankers. That's right. And
Yeah.
because when we'll say, hey Tank, how's it going? In the chats, you'll be all Tanker Dennis, and I'm like, oh, I guess I'm a tanker.
The key there is if you put the tank radio email, and everyone who knows what that email is, it comes right to your mind. It's the I don't know the slash's name. The slash to the left, little o, slash to the right. Because it's tank radio, you hold your hands up.
Yep.
I don't know who came up with that first.
Yep.
But if you put that in the chat wherever I'm in, sometimes I'm slow at it on my stream, but I'll always echo tanker and
Yes.
whoever does it.
So
I love doing it.
if you're ever in a chat with Frank and you do the \0 then there you go. You are a tanker.
And if you're one of my cigar brothers, do that little tildes for smoking your cigar.
There we go. Yeah, I want to ask you about cigars. But you are a POTA ham, it seems, right? Pretty active in that lately, and have taken on recent new aspects of operating, which we're going to talk about. But before we get into that, for those who have not met you or have not listened to the previous episode, why don't you tell us briefly about yourself and a little bit about your background and how you got into ham radio?
Sweet. We'll do the abridged version. I'm Tank Radio. I've been licensed about almost 10 years now. I had to look that up because I'm getting close to that mark and I need to figure out when I can or renew my license and get that going. I started amateur radio. It's because of Jason Hand 2.0. We can all blame him for me being here. Thank you very much. Good or bad? I'm hoping it's more bad. Then he got me interested in amateur radio through doing storm chasing. I wanted to do storm chasing and just do that for Tarrant County. And after poking and prodding him for about a year, he finally pointed me to the Hearst Club, and they had a technician class. And I went through their technician class and got my license. Yay! And I did storm chasing for a while, and the longest time. And if this is you also listening, do not be ashamed to be a UHF VHF person for your beginning of your amateur radio community. I had my license for a good 4 to 5 years before I even started on HF. And I was just doing the repeater works and helping out with the club. Just repeater warrior. That's what I'm going to name it. Repeater warrior. I was just on all the local repeaters, chatting with people as I'm driving. To be honest, when they asked me why did you, a lot of people asked me why did I become an amateur radio operator? To get the quick answer, or not the fun answer, is to get me off my cell phone as I'm driving.
Nice.
So, because I used to be pretty bad,
Is that even? That's not legal, is it, in your state? It's not legal in California.
No, it's
Okay.
not.
Okay.
Well, I just text or just read. I was just bored, ADD.
Oh boy.
So I started amateur radio, and I just started talking to people as I'm driving, and I loved it. the real reason is I want to do race seasons. Store spotting. I went through all of the National Weather Service storm spotter classes and got the licenses, and I love that part. I don't have time for it anymore. I kind of had to drop and fall out of all those crowds, but I picked up doing YouTube over COVID. I started my YouTube channel around COVID because I got tired and bored sitting at the house doing nothing, and I wanted to reach out and talk to people and have fun. And after even poking and prodding from the community, a lot of the YouTubers knew of me because I was on Jason's channel, and finally I just started my own. And the I think you had a small dig in there for my intro. I finally got that intro done after 4-5 months. At the channel.
You had been working on it for a while.
Intro skit. Yeah. It was all learning how to put together a animation through DaVinci Resolve, and some of that was also trying to find that editing tool that best fit for me.
I love DaVinci, by the way. I love that software.
DaVinci's awesome. If you're going to start amateur radio,
I got scared because I was in the Adobe Premiere world. I had prior to that been iMovie, and then but Adobe would always crash on my older Mac, and then I was scared away from DaVinci because people said there was a steep learning curve. So I was like, oh, I don't want to deal with that. I already know all my shortcuts in Adobe. Turns out it's so easy. If you don't know something, you just type into YouTube, how do I blank, right? And then boom, you know how to do it and you move forward. But
the learning curve is if you haven't edited before.
Yeah, that's true.
There was also a steep learning curve for me because I haven't edited before. I was trying some free programs, and I finally decided, you know what? Eventually, I'm going to work up to Resolve anyways. I'm just going to bite the bullet and learn how to edit in Resolve because that's probably going to be my final editor.
I can't believe that it's free.
Oh my God. And it's not just free with locked features. There's hardly any feature sets that I run into on a daily basis. Zero. Every now and then I stumbled into one. I'm like, oh, I can't use that transition. I just use another one.
Yeah, exactly.
The major limiter is if you're going to use the Black Magic hardware set, and that's their cameras, their boards, their everything, you need a full license. And don't get me wrong, that full license is only $300. And that's perpetual.
Yeah.
Do you have that license forever?
A subscription, which sucks,
And they'll give you the upgrades.
Yep.
You can go from DaVinci 17 to 18 to 19.
That's awesome. Yep. So if and when I get to the point where I need those special features, which I highly doubt, I will have no problem giving them $300 for it.
I almost did it just for their support.
Yeah. Sorry to sidetrack you there, but you just mentioned DaVinci, and I was just like, oh, I love that software.
You're talking to the rabbit hole king, so.
But so it was really great meeting you in person at Huntsville.
Oh, it was awesome.
So I made a point. Everyone was having so much fun. This was due in part to. Everyone was, of course, streaming and posting videos about Dayton, the Hamvention, the biggest ham convention. And then I was just so jealous. I was just like, I gotta go meet everyone. And so Huntsville was next on the list, and I made it a point to plan that out. Ended up intersecting with Chuck over in the Bay Area, and we just lost Tank. His computer crashed. Hold on, let me call him. But yeah, meeting with Frank, among others. Hold that thought while I give him a call. Is this going to work? There we go.
Hey, that was totally me.
So I got you on the phone now. We're still recording. And I will wait for you to rejoin.
Okay, I am. Let's just. Let's use the phone, and I will tell you when I'm back up.
Right. Sounds good.
Where did we left off? Where did I freeze?
Well, I was just talking a little bit about meeting you at the Huntsville Hamfest and what got me there and how I was so excited to actually meet everyone. And I remember seeing you at the pavilion, which was rented out. Everyone was kind of post food. I got too late for the food, but not too early or not too late for the drinking. And,
do you want to tell us how the drinking went? I remember you and drinking, but what do you remember?
I remember everything, of course, but it was a good time. And yes, I may have been a bit inebriated because the following day, everyone, like almost every single person from the pavilion asked me if I was all right that following day. And so, yeah, I must have been really enjoying it.
Oh yeah, you weren't the worst one off there, but
yes,
you did enjoy the night.
I did not stumble and fall. And I did not get sick, but definitely maybe a little too much.
That is the number one mistake a lot of people make on the Huntsville trips. That first Friday is when we are just out and around and enjoying the night. Drink too much that Friday night because you go out. Because we all got to go out and do our thing the next day.
Yeah. Well, that was, I had been promising, and this is the first Hamden Thoughts episode since Huntsville. So prior to that, I had released an episode, and I was promising everyone that I would do some interviews while I was there. That never came to pass, mostly because Saturday I was hungover. And Sunday I didn't see too many people, but also, I mean, I was just, I was just too busy interacting, and I forgot to just really pull out the recorder and just talk with people and get their thoughts, get their, get the first meetings recorded.
And it's kind of awkward, to be frank, at first. Like, it took. I'm an extrovert already. But to get up the nerve to go and ask someone for an interview was just like, I just got this little channel. Would you like to do an interview with me? This Tank Radio, you might have seen me over on Jason's channel, the Ham 2.0 live stream. I was his co-host.
Yeah. I remember running into you. You're one of the first people I ran into the next day. And you're walking around there with your camera and your big tripod, and or was that a monopod? It was something that you were carrying around, and
that was a tripod, and I had the intention to walk around and do a bunch of B-roll with my camera, but I forgot something. Oh, I forgot like a wire that I couldn't use my lapel mic, so I stuck with the big camera for the whole day, which did irk me. But we put up with what we have, right?
Yeah. I just ended up using my Pocket 2, my DJI Pocket 2, and that's a great little thing to carry around. It really is very convenient to just open it or bring it out, turn it on, recording. I even did 4K 60 with that thing, and it still did a good job.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to get a DJI camera. I wanted to get one a while ago, but it's just the funds to get a good camera and mic set. Yeah.
The thing with that little camera is it doesn't handle like big contrast, like backlight or blown highlights or low light. So it's a good like general daytime lighting camera, but if you need it for quality video at night or in very like backlit conditions, you're going to have a hard time with it. But I think the convenience factor it makes up for it. It's like have that or my giant, Ronin gimbal and mirrorless camera and all this stuff. It's like that's way too much gear to be carrying around all the time, just in case you might want to record something. It's like.
Well, but that's all I'm doing at Huntsville. I'm walking around doing. I love the fan recordings. to get to, because I did the whole interviews with the vendors. I did the walk around B roll of the whole convention floors, and that's fun and all. But when I found the energy from like, hey, we're over here, this is Frank, and oh man, let's go check out the Icon booth, and I do the pan shot of the Icon booth, and look at this radio. It's interesting how they display that, and then I jump into talking to a vendor. It's just the energy dropped, and I just like, I just didn't like that. It was fun energy.
Yeah.
And then the vendor interview was, hey, I'm with Tom. Tom, what do you got for us? Hey y'all, I got the new, and it's just sucked the energy out of the video. So I've been releasing vendor interviews on their own.
I would love to.
When
I would love to see a vendor who's like super fired up, but you never see that because they're tired. It's their job. They had to set that up
they're
and
even
everything.
tired day one because the previous day they set up all day.
Yeah.
But when I interview a fan and do my Hamfest question, they're excited to be there. They're excited to see me. They're excited. Majority of them are excited to be on camera.
Yeah.
Some of them, no. Like, that's cool, man. I respect that. But I found the energy flow, and I will echo whatever you give me as far as energy. And when they sit there and start being the monotone, then I will do it too.
I'm just imagining if you were like super fifth gear, high energy with a really, really boring person.
It happened. Okay, I am. Let me choose my words here carefully because I love this guy, Smoking Ape. Love him. I love what he does. But his tone and paces is completely opposite of mine. Because he'll get down there like, okay, guys, we're going to be doing this. And it's the perfect flat tone of like, and explaining everything, and he does it greatly. If you want to see how that plays, the first YouTuber Hamfest we did, Ape and I announced it, and I started off with my whole user banter, on Tech Radio, woo! and then it was like, hey, Ape man, tell us what the schedule's going to be. Yeah, Frank. The schedule is going to be, and he just started reading names, deuce, and then you just see me. If you watch me, I literally deflate in my chair.
Oh boy. Well, I mean, he was in that one Hayden video where he kind of did stand up for 20 minutes or something like that. I mean, the guy can be high
that
energy.
Was hilarious.
And
yeah,
I love Ape. I'm sorry, but
he's
one of my heroes.
A different energy.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I get it. I see you in the room, so I'm going to admit you there. I'm going to mute the phone call, so a little bit of transition here. Hold on. Oh, there we go. Get the background music. And let's see how this works.
Well,
you get to listen to all of this. I'm not going to edit this out, audience. I'm just going to let you hear the transition here.
All right.
Here he comes back.
I hear you in Zoom fine.
All right. I see you joining.
No, don't say that. I'm in the room.
Uh-oh.
I don't see a screen from you.
Zoom is not cooperating today.
We'll finish it on the phone.
Yeah.
I have spoken.
All right. Oh, there you are.
Well, okay. Maybe not.
Hold on. I'm muting the Bluetooth side now.
Okay.
All right.
How's that?
You're back. You're back.
All right.
I'm
going to hang up the phone.
Yep.
I love you guys.
I'll just leave you. I'll leave your number here open just in case that happens again. Anyway,
you get to see my beautiful couch right now.
Yes. Are you on the laptop now?
Yeah, I'm on the laptop now.
Okay. Hopefully that will hold it better. So I wanted to ask you about your recent new activities. This is kind of the reason, the main reason I wanted to talk to you too. But I told you to hold off on talking about it right away. But I want to talk about it now. What are some of these new activities that you've been doing in ham radio? That
new activities?
Yeah, that have been so exciting.
I renewed my interest in satellites. Well, that's mostly because everyone else and their brother are talking about satellites right now. And I'm like, hey, I started it a year or two ago.
Yeah.
I want to get back into it. That's fun. The other thing I did was I also jumped out of a plane again with Carlos. And that was awesome. Still with me?
I got my little gasp sound effect there.
Ah, yeah.
So you jumped out of a plane with Carlos, and this is not the first time. This is the second time you've done it, right?
This is the second time. So the first time I did it, I was little spoon to Carlos. That's how he describes it. I was strapped to him, and he flew me out of the plane for my first time of skydiving ever. I have a beautiful video I shot on that. It's amazing. That's one of my favorite videos I've ever done. The first time I skydived, but he said riding up in the plane, I was the widest knuckled person that he's ever seen. Because I was just grasping. We had a little handbar to hold on to. He's like, just death gripped that. Boy. And I didn't even feel, I thought I was just holding on to. He's like, no, man, that was like a death grip. I checked the beam when I slid my hand across, see if there's dimples.
Oh, boy. Yeah, I've been skydiving before, back in like, what was it, like 20 years ago. And I remember I was all bravado and like, woohoo, let's do this, you know. And then as soon as the plane left the ground, my friends tell me I turned pale white and I got really quiet. And yeah, I was, as soon as it became real, I was terrified. But yeah, it was quite an experience, and I would do it again.
I was mentally prepared for it because this was a year in the making. I talked to Carlos the year prior, and I'm like, hey, man, I want to go skydive with you. I weighed much more back then. I was like, just tell me what your comfortable weight is. Screw my feelings. Don't sugarcoat it, because one, this is safety for you and me. So you say a number, and I'm not there next year. He said a number, and I was kind of there. I said, no. We're going to be under it. We're going to be safe because both of us want to continue doing things. So I did a goal for to get another 20 pounds down, and I hit that, and we went skydiving. So I was mentally prepared because it was a year in the making, over a year in the making. Wow. And that was so much fun. The first thought, though, as I exited the plane was, oh, that's the plane, and I tried to grab at it.
As it was getting smaller and smaller.
Yeah. Well, when we jump out, both of these attempts now, or not attempts, but both times I jumped, when I jumped out, and I see a lot of people do this, they roll on their back. I think somehow that just kind of happens. I don't know the physics of it yet. Rolled on our back, and so we saw this beautiful shot of the plane overhead, and I remember seeing it so vividly, and I instinctively reached for it.
Wow.
I can't get back.
Doesn't make sense now that we're hashing it, but yes.
Yeah.
It was what your instinctive action was. Try to reach for the plane.
And Carlos said, for the loudest guy I am, I was just mouse quiet jumping. But I'm not a yeller, so I love roller coasters and everything, and I think the most you get out of me is yay. And then but then you go down.
That's a little bit hard to believe, Frank.
Oh, I just enjoy the experience. I'm not a yeller.
You just yell at us in the streams, huh?
Yeah. In new environments, I'll tell you this straight up. In new environments, even though I'm an extrovert, I'm extremely introvert until I'm comfortable. But once that comfortability hits, boom, I just explode, and my personality's everywhere.
Yeah.
But it was a hoot and a holler. I loved it. It was so much fun. Then the second time, let's go back to just the first time. The first time, though, he pulled the chute and he's like, hold out your hand. I was like, Yeah, you want to hold my hand now after all that? Okay. I held out my hand behind me, and then he slapped the brand new at the time Explorer handheld UHF VHF radio that was not released. I was the first actual ham operator to utilize it
Wow.
outside testing. So I made contacts with the radio on the way down. That was fun. I really enjoyed it.
Was that? I mean, that was
This
planned, right? You were planning to do parachutes on the air, or is it just something?
no.
Oh, so
I said, Carlos, I wanted this to do this experience because I worked up with this. This was also, I thought about skydiving really before I was big into ham radio, and I wanted just to do it for me. And I'll record it, put it on the channel. So he let me fall most of the way, but then he pulled his chute, and then we floated for a bit. And he's like, "Hello, your hand," and he gave me a radio. And then he's like, "I was like, oh, cool," and I started playing with it because it's new. And he thumped me a little bit back of the head. Call CQ, don't push the button. Oh, but everyone else knew
Nice.
that Carlos had the radio.
Oh, so everyone else was expecting you to be on frequency and get ready to start calling. Okay,
Yes,
that makes
everyone
sense.
else knew. It was a complete surprise to me. And then when I landed, he's like, that's the new Explorer. I said, yeah, I wanted to push the buttons more and get into the menus, what the menus look like. He's
Here
like,
you
were
are with
thousands of
this-
feet in the air.
Yeah, here you are with all this
And you want
grandeur
this-
of the sky before you, and you want to press buttons on a radio. Oh, that's great.
Shiny new toy.
Yes.
But then the second time I skydive, I did not go with Carlos. Well, I went with Carlos. He was in the plane, but I tandemed with someone else because I also jumped with Steve. Steve hasn't jumped in a long time, and he
And
would
this
like
is
to go with
this
Carlos.
is Steve KO4 AFL over in
Yes.
South Carolina. You may have seen
Yes,
him
sir.
on Ham Radio Clubhouse, but he's
you
also
definitely see him
frequently
there.
on there. But yeah, I like to on this podcast. I realize there are a lot of new listeners sometimes, so I like to reference who we're talking about
no,
because I
go
like
for
to name drop a lot of people, and then people are like, I don't even know who that is. I never heard of that person. Well, there you go. KO4AFL.
Yeah.
He's a VE. He's a very active person in getting people licensed, and so and he jumped. He used to jump a long time ago. He said.
He did it for the army, I think, or something. I plugged in the power. Now my video's spazzing. He did it for a military service. I forgot which branch. And then he just wanted to do it again. So he said he was going to go with Carlos. And I said, I will love to be in that plane with you. I don't care who my instructor is. And I went and jumped before they did. They were initially planning on doing a higher altitude deployment of their parachute. But just as they were falling, they ended up pulling a little later than they expected, but still had enough time to play radio and float all the way down. It's not on the videos, but they did a kind of a tumble.
Yep.
Landing.
I was going to
It
mention
wasn't
that
as smooth behind it.
because Steve, when we saw him that night at Huntsville, had all this kind of road rash on his arm,
Yeah.
and I was like, "Oh, what happened?" And he's like, "Oh, that was from the tumble." So apparently, you really need to tuck your knees in when you
You need to
land.
bring so when you tandem, when you're coming down, you need to pull your legs up so you land on your butt and scoot.
Yes, yeah, okay.
Steve didn't quite get his legs up all the way, so what happens is his legs hit, and that becomes the pivot point
Yep.
of them doing.
They just kind of
Go around their
bowled
bellies.
over together. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I have yet to. I don't know if anyone got that, but I have yet to see that.
He posted the video also. When I cut my video for Huntsville, I was editing super fast and on the fly, and I didn't have his footage, so he didn't make it in my video. But he posted his video after Huntsville. I tried to do now a video of me going out and hanging out with guys before the Ham Fest, and then get the video at the Ham Fest, started editing, and posted on the following Monday. So I try to edit every day's footage at that night. So if you do see me at a Hamfest in the evening, it might be with my head in the computer and not hanging out fully until I get that day's footage edited. And it usually takes me 20 to 30 minutes to cut it down, and I have strategies to kind of make it faster now.
Yeah,
but
it's just I've noticed it's kind of like repetition. You just need to get your process down, and then after a while, you know what you need to do. You know how much time it's going to take. Like this episode, I expect to get this episode done right after I have a class, but then after I get back from that, I'm going to try to just do a once through edit and try to get it uploaded so that everyone listens to it tomorrow. So
awesome.
Yeah.
I'll be looking forward to it. Well, you also get an edit, but then I kind of figured out a formula that I like for my Hamfest videos is like B-roll of me walking around. Then we have a fan interview. Then let's go back walking around again. And Mike says I edit too complicated. He does one long timeline of everything. I have pretty much a different timeline for every scene change.
Oh.
And then I just edit that down. Then I have one master timeline that I just drag them all when they're done.
Oh, okay. I think that's how you're supposed to do it. I do it like Mike. I do one long timeline and just kind of splice everything into it as I need to.
I did it that way, but every now and then, you hit a button kind of midway through the process and you don't realize your audio now is out of sync of the video, and you get close to the end, and then you realize it happened. Then you got to go back and fix it. I found it to be safer if I cut things out to scenes. It doesn't ruin the whole video. It just ruins that one scene, and it's less stuff to fix. Also, I like to also have different. When I change the scene I go from a Poda Park to home, I also like to have a background music change, and that makes it so much easier to do that. And then once you have all those set up with the different backgrounds, then I just drag and drop. Then all the background music is in one, and you don't have 30 different audio tracks. I only have like 3 or 4, sometimes 5 in each scene, but then I don't have to keep having that getting larger and larger.
Wow. I think we need a Frank Tank Radio YouTube class.
Actually, funny that you do say that. We didn't talk about this beforehand. I created a second channel called Tank Depot.
Tank Depot. I think I've seen this.
Yeah, so I want to, and I did it one time, but no one joined, and that's okay because I was still trying to get the things set up correctly. When I edit, I am usually these days in my Discord channel under Ham Radio 2.0's Discord. There is a Tankers audio chat, and I am in there editing and chatting to everybody. Every now and then I zone out, but I'm actually kind of working. But I also live share my screen, the full screen, me editing. You don't get the audio, but you see me working. And I'll answer questions about DaVinci, and then I talk while I can. And those have been fun, and I've been thinking about opening that whole process up on YouTube. And I didn't want to, YouTube's and algorithms and stuff. I didn't want to pollute my stream with just a nonsense live stream, even though sometimes my live streams do feel like that.
Yeah.
So I started a second channel, and I want to start bringing back my Friday night game nights. And again, I want to put that on YouTube to help create the audience for that and bring more people in. If you want to interact with us, go over to Discord, and because I stream out the Discord audio too. Or if you just want to sit in the audience and watch it post everything, it will be saved on YouTube. I did it for Twitch for a while, but I never got the traction on Twitch I like. And then just to make things simpler, I'm already in the YouTube sphere. If I have just a second YouTube channel, it'll be much easier for everyone to find me. Other than, it's the same reason why Josh just started streaming his live streams on YouTube, just because this captures the same audience. It's a smaller audience over there. And not a lot of people will want to have platform A and platform B and platform C to follow your content.
Yeah. Makes a lot of sense. Just consolidate it. Just be on one thing. Streaming is
not that hard. Set up OBS and get the scene set up. That's the hardest part.
Yep.
You just got to be comfortable
My,
talking
my
off the
latest
cuff.
development in that is I now have an overhead camera, so I can actually like record
Yes.
builds. And so that means I can't reach across this all the time every time I want to do something. So I'm thinking now I need to get one of those Elgato Stream Deck things and just kind of have it off to the side so I can change OBS scenes without reaching into my build area, like my work desk area. But
There's two ways of doing it, and I've done it both ways. And I like Josh's way of doing it: live edit all as you're shooting it. Like you said, use the OBS screen or the Screencaster or Screen Deck, or some. You can even do it with hot buttons. Set up all the screen changes and transitions so you're recording one video feed, and then you just hit 1, 2, and 3, and that will be your shot. You just kind of pause.
I mean, yes, I could
for a little
probably
bit.
do the hotkeys. I'm sure you could define hotkeys on your keyboard.
Oh yeah.
Right? That would be
like
that would be totally the rational option. But of course, gear acquisition syndrome, right? So of course I want a Stream Deck, right? So that's why I'm thinking of that. But yes, I probably should learn it just through keyboard because the keyboard's not in the frame for the overhead cam. So,
but getting started though, I started just recording the cameras. I started recording camera A, I started recording camera B, and maybe a camera C. That's my phone. And then in back in DaVinci Resolve, there's a feature for you to sync up different cameras as a multi-shot. And then I just edit there. So, I want camera here. I want this there. And I could set up, this is where Mike says I also too crazy. I set up camera 1, camera 2. Then I have camera 1 full screen, and then camera 2, little bit of screen here. Then I do the inverse: camera 2 full screen, and camera 1 itty bitty in the corner. And then I have 4 multi-camera shots now set up. So now I'm just editing Frank Big, Desk Big, full desk, full Frank, and I just use OBS and I cut it that way.
Well, I thought I had all my stuff all figured out in OBS and DaVinci, but yeah, you need to do an instructional thing because it sounds like you're actually using OBS and DaVinci as they are designed. I'm just kind of hacking it from it's supposed to be called non-linear editing, right? But my editing is very linear. It's like one timeline, and I'm dropping all these different little pieces of clips that I got throughout the day into it, and it just seems like I could be doing this a better way.
I do shoot linear, so I try to tell the story from beginning to end, and I try not to jump around from, all right, here's the house thing, but now I need to go back and shoot the beginning thing, and because then you just have everything out of order. I try to shoot in order. In Resolve, you can, there's a column that you can enable to tell you how many times you used a clip. So I use that to tell me, and then I just import everything, and then I'll use that and be like, okay, I used that clip already. I sort everything by time. With different cameras, time is usually, and phones and cameras is just kind of out of order-ish. But you kind of figure it out a little bit. But then I just look at the usages. I use that. What is that? And I double click on it. Yeah, that was useless. And use that. Oh, I wanted this clip, and then I could go back and insert it wherever. That's helped me a lot after I started figuring out if I want to shoot things in order. Every now and then I do out of order, but that just kind of gets tricky. And then remember what days, and at conventions, I end up editing at night or the early afternoon before dinner. And then I just dump everything into, I have a Hamfest folder, and then I have a video folder, then I have a day one folder, and everything in day one is in day one. Then I take day one, and then I put it into a bin called day one, so I know where all that footage came from. And then day two is just slashed in day two. I used to take the time to look at each clip and name the clip. Frank, this 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you go, okay, this is Frank working on desk 1, 2, 3, 4. And I was like, this is just too much. So I kept the file names.
So you just kind of used it. Uh-oh. Did I lose your audio?
No, I'm still here.
Oh, okay.
Audio.
I was just thinking, man, I used to do that too. I actually would just do a very short version of that. I would just call a video 1, and then the next one is 2. And I have no idea what I'm looking at until I preview it in the editor.
That's why I started. At first, I named them. So I was like, all right, this is the bench build overhead camera 1. Then I find the next file of that 2 and 3 and 4. Then the other one, bench build freight camera 1, 2, 3. So I know all the 1s go together. I know all the 2s go together. I know all the 3s go together. That's just took too long to sort through all that footage to pull, and it made it easier later. Be like, okay, I'm doing the bench build, and now I need a camera 1, I need a camera 2, and it make it easier identifying the clips. But it's just faster and resolve it. Double click, double click, double click, double click, double click. This guy, boom, and then I instantly work on it. And then once I'm done working on that clip, or that file or that video clip, I don't really see it again until I go back to watch the final run to cut everything and put the audio track down.
So you mentioned streaming. This is always a curiosity of mine. I haven't got it working right, but a lot of people like to use StreamYard when they stream. And you were saying before we started that you like to just stream directly from OBS. So what about cases where you are a guest on someone else? I mean, is that typically StreamYard?
Minus my laptop setup right now. You just got the raw camera feed and the raw audio. What I had going upstairs before we had the fun Zoom stuff going on, I was still using OBS for my camera, because you saw I had my logo, which the audience is not seeing, but I had my logo up on this side, because for some reason my camera image is reversed. Up, and I use OBS for that, and I still had all my scene transitions. You're still getting the raw mic from the microphone audio, but I use OBS anytime I have a camera. I turn on OBS, turn on, because it has an awesome virtual camera. Click that, and then any app that or application or program that wants a camera feed, you go to that virtual camera, and then it's whatever composed image. Then you can set up OBS to stream straight to YouTube. You can do it via log in with your account, and it will sync up your account with the account credentials. Or I like the raw stream key, because there's an option somewhere. Once you hit start streaming, I want to see the camera feed show up in YouTube with what's your data rate, good, excellent, whatever. And when I'm ready, I'll click go. By default in OBS, when you click start streaming, it latches on to whichever one you set up, and it will go live then and now.
Wow.
And that could get you in trouble a little bit.
Sometimes
you're not ready for it.
Yeah, you don't know it. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I mean, I'm live.
Well, go back in my history. Search Poltergeist. I hit it for some reason, and it was 12 seconds of nothing but static room noise, and it's just creepy. But that came out from somewhere of me clicking start record or start streaming, and when I meant to hit record, and that's the other reason. If you're using OBS to record stuff, which I do all the time, those buttons are stacked on top of each other.
Yeah,
there is start streaming and then start recording, and it's two starts right next to each other. If you're not paying attention which one you hit, you can hit start streaming. And I done that where I streamed a whole thing, flubs and everything, to YouTube, and I saw that and I was horrified. I was like, no. But it had a lot of hits and views, and people were commenting. I was like, no, you're
it's
not
a viral video.
A
viral accident. But my listeners may be wondering why I'm even going into this topic. It's a topic that's very interesting to me right now, because for the fact that I set up this overhead cam, and I do want to start doing build videos, but possibly even doing live stream build videos with people. And so I'm looking at all of these options now, and how does a person live stream? I have problems on my current PC with StreamYard. Anyone who's had me as a guest on their stream will know this, that I'm always cursing at StreamYard for not working on my browser for some reason.
StreamYard. So there's the difference between the OBS and StreamYard for the viewers.
Yes, I know this.
OBS is a application or program that runs on your computer and that it ties to your camera, your mic, and you can stream straight out from there or go into StreamYard or anything else to go and start streaming. StreamYard by itself goes and grabs your camera feed and your audio feed, and then it's the mixer. It mixes the videos and audience people all together.
Yep. Whenever I'm invited, it's always a StreamYard link that I have to join, and I spend at least 10 minutes trying to get into their StreamYard. Whereas, if it was just me streaming, that's no problem. I think I've done demos of that myself.
You've been on my channel stream, right? Have you? The cigar one?
Yeah, I think so. I didn't.
Yeah.
Didn't I do that once?
But that wasn't StreamYard.
That was not
pure Zoom.
Oh, okay.
So
we've demonstrated that Zoom is not reliable either.
True, right. But to be honest, I found Zoom on itself pretty reliable. There's but when it hiccups, it hiccups bad, and it's at the worst time because you need to go live.
Yeah, it's like you don't use Zoom for couple months, and then all of a sudden you need it for like this, like an interview, and it says, "Oh, I want to update myself first," and you let it do it, and then suddenly it doesn't work right.
Well, it worked fine. I streamed Sunday. I did my normal live stream Sunday. It was a AMA. Me and Scott sat there and talked on the camera, and I did a whole channel update, and it was fine. It was working fine. I don't know why it just started a hiccup. Probably because some update, but then in order to work with another Zoom application that doesn't have the update, it will freak out. And then I had to do the update. Then even that didn't fix the problem. So I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah.
There's many different ways of streaming. You can use pure OBS, or you can a combination. Because even when I joined guest streams that used StreamYard, I still pipe all my video through OBS, and then I tell the browser to use the virtual camera.
And that's what I'm doing now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually going through OBS. And what you see, that's why I was able to show you my desk and that setup prior to our start here. But all of this, it's just amazing to me that all of this is available to us, one, and secondly, that the majority of it is free, right? OBS itself is a free piece of software, but it has so many capabilities. And it's just a matter now of, getting everything dialed in and practiced. I was trying to do a build video the other day, and I realized, through my test efforts with OBS that it wasn't picking up the right sound source. And so that's another thing that I feel like I need to test out with all the different scenes to make sure that if I do stream, I won't just be talking on mute.
The one thing, I've been there, done that. If y'all join my live streams, it's a common occurrence of, Frank, you're muted. Frank, you're muted. Your guest's muted, Frank. No one can hear anything now, Frank. The thing with OBS is I wish a scene will save the mute settings. So when you change volume levels or mute a particular audio source, it will stay like that even through transition scenes. On one hand, I wish it kept the mute settings, the audio level settings. It could stay, but I guess it's all or nothing. And I mute when I start my stream. I adjust my audio down. I do the tank radio yell. I'll welcome everyone. I do the transition to the my credits and intro, which then I mute myself. Then I come out of that, unmute myself. Talk to it a little bit to the camera, and then I bring the guest on. Then I need to unmute the guest, which is sometimes I just forget because I'm so excited and I'm on a roll. Because I still hear the guests in the background. Unlike Jason, I don't take my headphones off, so I still hear everyone. And every now and then they're making fun of me. which is funny because I'll call him out on screen. Hey, Scott just said something funny. But a lot of times with Shane, Shane did this a lot. Hey Frank, you're doing great, but you're slow down a bit, man. You're hitting your points a little too fast. We need this to be an hour, and you're going to finish in 2 minutes.
Wow. Which Shane is this? This is this side of the radio Shane? Or
This side of the radio Shane, yeah.
Yeah, we know several Shanes.
We know several Jasons. You know how many Jasons are out there?
Yes, there are.
I gave them all new names. We have Jason number 1. This was XD Mini Jason. He doesn't build them anymore, but he's still around our side. Jason number 2, Ham Radio 2.0 Jason. That's why he got the 2. And he was kind of upset at first. He's like, why am I Jason number 1? I said, your name has 2 in the name. Ham 2.0.
It has to be 2. Yeah.
It has to be 2. We got Giga Jason from Gigaparts, and we have Antenna Jason, or he likes to be referred to as Smart Jason. To be honest, he has 2 names because for a while I thought he was 2 different people. I'm sorry, Jason, because I see the streams talk about the pie. I'm like, dude, this guy's smart. He's amazing, and he knows a lot. And so I started calling him the Smart Jason. Then on another stream, he comes on to Jason stuff and talks about antennas. And I was like, this guy knows about antennas. He's awesome. So I called him Antenna Jason, and it take me until longer than it should to realize it was the same person.
Oh,
so he has two nicknames.
Wait,
Antenna
we're talking
Jason
about ACK Jason?
KM4ACK.
Yeah, KM4ACK. Yeah, that's who I thought.
He is Smart Jason.
Smart Jason and Antenna Jason. Nice.
Yep. I told him, he laughed. He's like, we'll just keep Smart Jason. I was like, all right.
That guy is, I hung out with him a bit when they were installing antennas in the mobile install at Huntsville. And I got him on video as well in one of my latest videos. And he was... he just seemed to know exactly where to punch through the firewall, everything. Like, it's just a car he's never seen, but he just knew like all these different things on how to get it going. I was like, okay, master installer Jason. And he was very modest about it. He's just like, yeah, hopefully it works. But the guy knows stuff. Like, he does stuff very daringly that I would never do to my own car.
He earns the moniker Smart Jason.
Yes. Definitely.
Very well.
And here he is telling us he's doing these like Build a Pi and Linux 73, and he's telling us, oh, I don't really know, I'm not really a Linux programmer, but then he has all these like open source projects that people are using that are like fantastic,
But then he's also yelling at us when we're doing anything related to Linux, the right command to fix whatever is going wrong.
Exactly.
Run this command.
Yeah.
Oh, that fixed it all.
So if you're listening to this KM4ACK, or as he says, KM4ACK, right? Yeah, good job. I appreciate that you're mediocre at Linux, but you're far better than all of us.
And you saw those. I can't figure out how to call them, but the Pokemon cards with us on them.
Yes.
Those were hilarious.
Yep.
I think we need to get our heads together and like do like a scavenger hunt or something with them.
Like, I wanted to see those. I just saw the picture of them on Twitter, but I wanted to see them in person and ask him, how did you even get these made? These are awesome.
Those were awesome. He said it took a long time and it was printed on quality paper. I wonder if we can scale the paper quality down and speed up production to see if we can do cards for Dayton. And when you meet a YouTuber, you get our card and you see if you can collect them all.
Just collect them all. And then we have to make up a game, an actual game. Oh, yes. Or you battle.
Mine was funny. It had something about bourbon. I'm trying to remember the exact on it, but it's like if this YouTuber consumes 2 shots of bourbon, the other guy gets 3 -dB. But use cautiously because 6 shots will render this YouTuber incapacitated or something.
Nice. Speaking of bourbon, that makes me think about cigars as well. I wanted to ask you a little bit about that. I know that it seems to be a common theme among many ham YouTubers that there's a lot of cigar smoking out there. And I have to admit, I was into cigars a bit, but I had very limited knowledge. And just watching everyone else enjoy one, people like Don, Izzo, and even John Crook over at Yesu, and of course Kate MRD, and you. I think you were probably the one I saw the most initially smoking a cigar. You always had either a picture or you were on the stream smoking a cigar outside with a glass, and just enjoying yourself. I was like, I need to understand cigars more, because this looks like they're having a great time.
I almost moved outside after my first computer crashed to smoke a cigar. I opened up the door, instant cicadas. I'm like,
oh, nice.
It's that time of year.
It would have been a nice background to our podcast here to hear cicadas.
But man, I enjoy it, man. I'm sitting outside majority of the time. Like you said, I'm playing POTA. I'm in nature. Why not just light a cigar and let time pass slowly and enjoy the experience and enjoy where you're at? And the one other kind of big reason I got into cigars is because I haven't done it in a while, smoking. I have a offset smoker in back. And I don't care what time it is. When the meat's on the smoker, it's time to light up a cigar and pour yourself 2 or 3 fingers of bourbon, because your butt's not going anywhere for the next hour and a half to 2, because that's the most critical time for temperature.
Yeah.
So you got to be at that vent every 5 to 10 minutes, checking it. Okay, here, not okay. All right. So the fire's getting a little cooler now, so I need to put another log on. But since I put another log on, we need to reset all the vents and start that over again until it finds its humming temperature for the day, and that's where the vents are set. The vents are set, and it doesn't matter if you open it up and put another log on. In about 5 or 10 minutes, it'll be at that temperature again. And once you find that temperature, where I call it, where it hums on, then you can just get up and walk away for 45 minutes or an hour. But getting there, it's going to take time. And if I got time just to sit there and do nothing, I have poured myself a whiskey and bourbon at 12 at night, 3 in the morning, 6 in the morning. It doesn't matter what time it is. The meat's on. It's time for some whiskey and a cigar.
Nice. Yeah, I have this thing with my in-laws. I am not my in-law parents, but my brother-in-law, my sister-in-law, and all. There is a concept of the bar pour for a whiskey glass, and then there's the dentist pour. So you mentioned the three fingers. That's starting for me. A dentist pour is a significant pour, and I do go through the glasses pretty fast. So, when people are sharing a bourbon with me, for example, a bottle that I have, they will ask for less than a dentist pour. They just want to try it, right? But then when they see me pouring, they're like, "Oh man, that's like 3 of my drinks or something." I don't know. Yeah, it's smoking is another thing that I wish we had. We could talk about it at length, but it is something that definitely I've seen you on in various photos and various videos, being the master chef, trying to get things going. And I wish I experienced that in Huntsville as well, but I guess that's kind of prohibitive since we're all flying in there, and it's hard to get all the gear that you need.
That being said, Kyle cooked for us that day, and I thought about doing the beans, but with the beans, when I make the beans, it takes so long to not really cook them, but the cleanup afterwards takes a while. The pot is a mess. So you have to soak the pot, and then it's takes a while to clean up from the beans. And I want to do that myself. I don't want to give that task to someone else, because it's a long task. It's a tedious task.
Yeah.
And if I can't clean up after making them, I tend not to make them. But I know I'm known for the beans. I know I'm known for my ribs. I cook the ribs almost every time we get together for field day. And Mike and Jason love them. And I love doing that for them. I have my own barbecue rub I make from scratch. There's no starter on it. I get each individual ingredient out, There's 6 of them, and if you go back to reference the first YouTuber's Handfest again, I have a video in there of me making the rub. Ooh. I won't tell you what the ingredients are.
The secret recipe is on a video somewhere.
Yeah. The audio crashes at certain points along the whole thing. Now I'm going to take, and we're going to add this at this ratio. And next is,
nice.
That was fun to make.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry to do this to you, Frank. I could talk to you for another couple hours here, but I wanted to give you the opportunity to just say anything you want before we close here. I have to rush off to a class. So, but I mean,
thanks for squeezing me in, man. I appreciate it. And that just means, I just got to be a first time you have someone on 3 times.
Yeah, maybe we need a part 3.
Ooh, I like it.
Let's do that. Let's schedule our next one, a follow-up, because we've only gone on a few tangents here, but they're fascinating to me. I want to talk more about, there's a lot of people who are wondering about how do I get into YouTube? How do I get into streaming? What do I need? There's a lot of other people. They're like, everyone's smoking all these great cigars, and I don't even know the first thing about them. And then, of course, all the stuff that you were doing with Sats, I want to get into more. And, what does it take to do your first tandem jump? All these questions come into mind that I can't really get to. But, no, I want to give you some time just to talk about what's coming up.
We'll do a part 3 later.
Yeah.
I am Tank Radio. Go ahead and search Tank Radio on YouTube. You'll find my channel. I alluded to there might be a second channel down the road, and that's going to be Tank Depot. That channel is live, but there's nothing up there right now. You can go ahead and search for me, Tank Radio, on any podcaster app you have, and I should be there. I release a audio podcast every week, and 2 of the audio podcasts aren't on YouTube. They're only in audio form. One of them is Texas Ham Boys, when we find the time to record that. And that is a fun back and forth with me, Jason, Mike, and a couple of the other Texas YouTubers out there. And I just kind of like what we just did here. We talk shop a bit. We talk about what's going on in our lives. And I just want to show that aspect to everybody. Other than that, I think that's all I have going on. That's me in a nutshell.
You want to plug anything coming up on your channel that you got in the works?
Coming up on the channel next coming Monday is going to be a video with me announcing my renewed interest in satellite radio. I go over the base concepts again and do a kind of refresher of what it takes to do satellites and some of the basic concepts for satellites, and kind of go over the rig I want to use for my satellite contact. And I want to use this as a renewed interest for satellite radio. Then once Texas decides to cool down, I'm going to start building out my ham shack.
Nice. Like a full-on outdoor, separate from the house shack.
No, I mean building the ham shack, running all the wires and building it outside, because it's been 100 degrees outside and I need to run in the attic, and that means it's 150 in the attic.
I see what you mean. Yeah, I haven't even done that fully. I cheat. I just put a flex in the garage, and then I just use my computer to get into it.
That works. Got
so
flex is going on. I'm going to start calling you Kyle.
Oh no, it's just the lazy route. I think I haven't drilled through any walls. I haven't done coax runs. I mean, you should see it. Well, I don't want to show it because it's really embarrassing. But my coax is literally under a door slot, a space in the door, and then it just runs along the length of the fence. It's not even buried. Just kind of like haphazardly running along the fence to the antenna that's at the back of the property.
That's completely fine. I'm going to do the same thing on mine. I'm not going to bury the cable.
There's nothing
completely
organized about it at all. And I hear about these other people that they do full-on conduits, and they run it through their attics, or they drill through their walls, and they have it full access to a nice panel of SO239s to plug into. And no, I don't have anything like that. I just hack everything.
One day. That's going to be me. One day.
All right, Frank. Well, yeah, I really wish we could go longer, but thank you so much for being on the show. It's always fun talking with you, and definitely super fun hanging out with you over at Huntsville. And I do plan to go to Dayton next year. I don't know if I'll see you before then. I don't know about going to Florida, but I will go to the biggest ham fest. And possibly, I think, Huntsville again the following year. That was such a great experience. I want to do it again.
I loved it. If you have the time and money, Huntsville, it's amazing, and Dayton. Dayton is so big, so big. It's awesome. Yep.
All right. Well, I will say 7-3, and I will call it
7-3, man.
Wrong button. You've been listening to Hamden Thoughts by AD6DM. Thanks a lot, and we will catch you next time.